So the H1 2022 Nigeria Real Estate Market Report is our attempt at demystifying and deconstructing the various elements in the Nigeria real estate market. We look at property prices, we look at property yields, we look at projections around various projects. Now, the report will look at how each sub-market has performed, whether it's retail, whether it's residential, whether it's hospitality, or whether it's even industrial. Again, we try to start on the foundation of how the macroeconomic conditions have fared, and then from there we build into the real estate market proper. So in the report, we conclude that the various sub-markets have shown signs of growth. Now, some have grown faster than others, but on aggregate, we've seen growth across the various sub-markets. Whether it's in residential, we've seen an increase in the amount of supply of apartments into the Nigeria real estate markets, whether it's in Lagos, whether it's in Enugu, whether it's in Minna, Niger State. Again, if we go not too far and we get to retail, we've seen an increase in ambition in the scale and scope of projects that the various developers that specialize in that space attempt. In fact, you will find that one of them is doing a project outside of the country. But be that as it may, we have also seen an increase in the amount of confidence that various stakeholders are showing in the market, and this again is driven by the data that we have sourced ourselves from the market. In the Nigerian PropTech space, we've observed an increase in funding now available for PropTech startups who are interested in doing quite a number of things, ranging from providing construction materials on demand to address verification, even right down to paying for homes gradually, or as we would say, installmentally. And we find that there's a new kind of energy, and we see that even the players are hopeful as to where the market is going. We've had a couple of conferences in this regard, and the real estate market in Nigeria is beginning to see even more tangible benefits from the PropTech space. So the Nigerian hospitality market was one of the first to recover from the COVID pandemic. While officially big name brands had to adhere to all protocols, we noticed that the B-grade hospitality establishment, while adhering to the protocols, were able to accelerate their growth, largely because they were available for those who needed their services. That has led to a couple of things. Number one, we've seen quite a number of firms go into providing B-class hospitality. But secondly, we've seen a return of international investors going to buildings that currently exist and upgrading them to international standard hotels. We've also seen quite a number of international firms come to set up shop here in Nigeria. Again, in the report, we give a bit more detail on this. So the Nigerian retail real estate market has always been one of the first to adjust to changing economic circumstances, and this time has been no different. So not only have we seen the growth in B-grade retail, not only have we seen the growth in retail establishments that are between 2,000 to 8,000 square meters, we're also seeing a new level of ambition where you find retailers or retail developers mixing their assets with family entertainment, for example. And so you find that the average retail developer is not just content with building a retail mall for all family members, but also adding a bit of play area, adding a bit of entertainment for the whole family. So we also see that the retailers are bringing in new products and they are partnering with more clients both locally and internationally as they expand, and the prospects for retail are pretty good. We discuss residential, which has evolved rather quickly, but predictably. Now, we find that gated communities, which came in around 2020, 2021, have grown faster than we had earlier projected. Now, gated communities look like they have come to stay. Rents per square meter, prices per square meter seem to be higher, and the trend of developers going into gated communities is likely to continue. Again, in core cities, we see that 1-bed, 2-bed, and 3-bed apartments are still the go-to for most developers, and we find that the demand has continued to increase. Now, in all the nodes that we checked, as we have done for the last 8 to 10 years, you find that vacancy rates have continued to decline, especially on the mainland, where places like Yaba, Surulere have vacancy rates that are less than 1%, and Lekki, Ikoyi, Victoria Island aren't too far behind. The prognosis, as far as we can see, is that the residential market has continued to grow, not only because of the amount of demand that we see, but also because of the quality of products that are being released into the market. We looked at the industrial real estate market, where we assessed the performance of industrial space, and by that I mean warehousing, cold storage, and then of course the market for manufacturing. Now, you would remember that the COVID pandemic meant that everyone had to stay at home and there was a dependence on logistics. Now, this has driven up the demand for warehousing, and we have looked in the reports and we found that the demand for warehousing space has gone up and the vacancy rates for warehousing has come down. You know, we used to joke at the office that the warehousing real estate market was the black sheep, in that most people discussed the other sub-markets but weren't too interested in the market for warehousing. That has completely changed, and I can sit here confidently and tell you, based on the data that we have seen, whether it's in Lagos, whether it's in Abuja, whether it's in Port Harcourt, we have seen the demand for warehousing space, whether it's grade A, whether it's grade B, go up, and we can see the rental values go up also. So in the half-year report, we give a detailed analysis, and we hope that it will be of use to you. So infrastructure is critical to the development of Nigeria's real estate markets. That's not news for most people. What we find is, as the studies reflected in this report show, is that the mere announcement of an infrastructure project already begins to push property values upwards. So we find that quite a number of road projects have started, and some were commissioned in Western Nigeria. We also had a few in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. Again, as we try to discuss at the intro of this session, what we find is, as we head into the elections, there will be an acceleration by the central government on the investments in infrastructure, and we have begun to see that, whether it's in roads, whether it's in bridges. We expect that there will be more infrastructure investment. So the healthcare real estate market in Nigeria got a boost during the COVID pandemic, and we did see quite a bit of investment coming after that. Now, what we've noticed in the last 6 months is healthcare developments around diagnostics have begun to increase, but we still find operators report that raising funding for primary healthcare institutions or projects in Nigeria is still something of a challenge. Be that as it may, we still have a few private concerns going into healthcare projects, especially in the rural areas. Now, is it as much as we would have preferred? Not entirely, but our report does go into detail as to the amount of investment that has come into the sector, whether it's starting from what the central bank did in their 100 for 100 projects to even the commissioning of a few key healthcare projects. So in the H1 2022 Nigeria Real Estate Market Report, we've gone through the key sub-markets in the Nigeria real estate market, whether it's residential, whether it's retail, whether it's office, infrastructure, healthcare, or even industrial. And we've come to a couple of conclusions, one of which is we do expect that the market will grow as we head into the end of the year. Now, they will grow at different rates, but growth all the same. And we do encourage you to look at the link below or click the link in the bio to download the full report for free. Thank you.